Hey, my name is Troy and welcome back to my booktube channel. So today I'm very excited to present my very first video, and I know some of you are wondering like, Troy, what are you doing? I thought you're launching your first video would be on January 1st, 2020 when you said it would. Well, you actually are right. This is not my booktube launch. This is just a video for when I do launch and push this channel across all my social media that people have multiple videos to watch. So today we are going to be doing a 2019 full reading wrap up. You heard me. 2019 full reading wrap up, so going through like every single book I read, how many pages I read in total, going through my Goodreads year in books, and just highlighting some very specific book memories. I'm so excited to do this. I actually am feeling a little bit under the weather today, but I do have some hot chocolate here with me, and I do also have an Uncrustable. You know, we're just gonna get it done, we're gonna get the filming done, and we're gonna have an overall a really productive day. So let's start out with my Goodreads year in books. Now we're going to be going into my Goodreads. This is my profile right here. Make sure if you want to find me on Goodreads, it's Troy_reads. If you don't know what Goodreads is, it is basically a social media platform for the book nerds out there, just like me. So you can basically just log your book progress, you can track books, you can find books, you can interact with the whole book community. It is amazing. So as you can see, my year 2019 in books, I read 28,155 pages. Guys, that is a lot of pages. That's like 500 pages per week, which, you know, I'm fine with. I would like to get the number over 30,000 some year, but, you know, I'm pretty happy with that number. It is almost 30,000 pages, and that really makes me happy. And across 68 books. Again, 68 books in a year, that's more than one a week. So what else could I ask for, really? All right, so let's get into more of the kind of statistic part of this. So the shortest book I read in 2019 was Night by Elie Wiesel. This was actually for a school book that we actually recently read in school and for ELA class. And it was basically about the Holocaust and this memoir of this young boy going through the Holocaust. It was very good, but it was short. But I think that actually increased the effectivity of the book. And then we have the longest book, which, you know, I'm more interested in, which is the 984 pages of Kingdom of Ash. I was so disappointed that it didn't actually reach 1,000. Like, I want to read a book that's over 1,000 pages. But, you know, 984 is a lot. Sometimes I despair when reading a really long book because it's like, I want to read as much books as possible, but, you know, I also have this obsession with, you know, wanting to read, you know, the most pages as possible. At the beginning of the year, I was like searching up the longest pages, how long, the longest series in the world. I was like really trying to find the longest book. And then the average length that I read was 414 pages, which is great, but I do want to up that average up a little bit because 414 is not the most impressive. And then we got the popularity. So most popular, 5,942,155 people also read The Hunger Games. That's a lot of people to read a book. I think this is only just Goodreads stuff, but I'm sure this book was read more than that. One of the books that I had said it had 36 million readers, so I don't know how we're going to trust this, but the least popular one was Treasure of Capric by Brandon M. Wilborn, and I just want to say this author was so sweet and nice and sent me actually a paperback after I had left a review of the digital edition that I got for free, and I mean, it was actually a pretty good book, so I want to see this number go up. My average rating for 2019 was 4.6. So that's my ratings. I didn't rate a lot of books low. I had a lot of high books, and I do get sent a lot of books because of this rating, I feel, because, you know, I'm not actually that prone to give a book a bad star rating. So I have 4.6 stars as my average. I usually vary between 4 and 5, but usually my ratings are 5 stars because I only try to read books that I will enjoy. Highest rated book on Goodreads that I read this year was an arc that was sent to me digitally that I could read for free, and it was Snow Mercy by Wendy Meadows. I don't know why it has that high of an average because, I mean, it was sort of good, sort of not good. I probably must have rated it like a 4 stars. I don't know really why it has that high of an average, to be honest. Now let's look at the first review of the year, and that was on The Last Olympian by Rick Riordan. I remember that I was reading the Percy Jackson series for the first time at the start of the year, and here's my review. I really like this book. I feel like it had a good pace, which is really my number one thing that I look for in the book, alongside how the plot is set up. I feel as if the plot had a nice structure to it where we just started to get to the action, the final battle, and then the following action and resolutions. Rick Riordan really did a nice job with this book, and it was very pleasant to read. That was an absolute horrible review of a book. I think I was just trying to flex, you know, oh, I know about plot, whatever, but like that's just not a good review. But I don't think my last review was good either, but you know, at least a paragraph, at least I kind of, you know, summed up what the book is. But if I'm going to do a professional review, I will, you know, do a quick blurb of, you know, my overall feelings on the book. Then I like to do a summary of the book, an original summary. Then I like to go into my in-depth review. Now it's time to go into my 2019 books, and I'll walk you through kind of my process. So during the start of the year, I finished up the last book of Percy Jackson, as you can see over here, and then I finished the Inheritance Cycle and the Christopher Paolini book for the Dragons. So these 3 books over here, I did Brizinger, then Inheritance, and then I had to get the spin-off book because the series was so good. This was actually my top 3rd favorite series, and I discovered that this year, and so that's awesome. And then I launched into another good series, another good reread from the Throne of Glass series. So I read The Assassin's Blade, Throne of Glass, in order for these first few books for the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas. Then I read, you know, the next few books of the Sarah J. Maas series. I finished it, and that's where the longest book, you know, came in. And then at the time of reading this, I was actually reading The Omnivore's Dilemma for school. This is where my reading got really jumbled up. I read the first 3 of the Mortal Instruments. So that's City of Bones, City of Ashes, and City of Glass. Then I started on the next series, which was Clockwork Angel, but then I was doing my spring break reading vlog on my other channel, so I ended up reading Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, first book of Nemesis, the second 2 books of the Infernal Devices series by Cassandra Clare, then these 2 books, Star Wars Jedi, The Tale of Despero, and then I read The Hunger Games like very quickly. Then I read the Stranded, like 6 books by Jeff Probst. Then I started to get back into the Cassandra Clare Shadowhunter books. I also read The Treasure of Capric that no one has read, and then some digital arcs, A Mighty Long Way, which I've been reading for school, the Shadowhunters Codex, which goes along with the Cassandra Clare Shadowhunters, it's like a spin-off, the Life Siphon, which was actually a pretty good advanced reader copy that was sent to me. Then I read Catwoman by Sarah J. Maas, because I had to read all of Sarah J. Maas books. And then I had Turtles All the Way Down by John Green, and then more Shadowhunters books, but you can just see how kind of messy that month was. And then I went into Keeper of Lost Cities. I went into Keeper of Lost Cities, Keeper of Lost Cities Exile, Everblaze. I also went into the last book of the Mortal Instruments series, the second book of that Nemesis series I was talking about, Caraval, then the 3rd book of the Nemesis series, Chrysalis, Land of Stories, Giver, Unwanted's Wonder, The Witches, Time Cat, Lodestar. I was doing a readathon with a Goodreads group, and I was just reading a bunch of random stuff. Then I was reading Lord of the Flies in school in August for ELA. Then I was continuing on with the, you know, the Keeper of Lost City series, the Lodestar, Nightfall, and Flashback before the Legacy launch. And then I went into the Hadley Academy that someone sent me for no odd reason. These 2 books were for school, Night and To Kill a Mockingbird. To Kill a Mockingbird was actually really good for a school book. Then Legacy came out, so we read Legacy. And then The Beckoning Shadow was also sent to me, I don't know why. Court of Thorns and Roses, which, oh my gosh, I have a review gonna come. It's a really good book. Magnus Chase, I read that, and A Long Walk to Water. Those are all the books I read this year. Wow, that was actually a really long list. I read a lot of good books. I read a lot this year, and I'm so happy to, you know, have read all this. It was a great reading year. I never had a book where I was like distinctively like, no, I hate it. All right, let's look at my last review of the year, which was Of Night, the book that I was reading in school right before we got out for break. So 5 amazing eye-opening stars. This was a book that we had to read for school, but I always end up enjoying them. And this one I specifically enjoyed. I never realized how horrific and traumatic the events of World War II were. And this was, again, very eye-opening. So I liked the language a little bit more of this review, but it wasn't, again, detailed. I don't like to review my school books. You know, I'll do a quick review, but like, I don't want to put myself through more treacherous efforts to review a book that I read in school. So, you know, it was a really good book, and I didn't really want to review it, so that's kind of it. And my reading challenge, I read 68 out of, I wanted to read 75 books. 75 books is too much. So that wraps up my Goodreads portion. Let's get on to the reading highlights. So now we're going to be going over my reading highlights. We're just going over some memories that I had of some good reading memories. So the first would be Aragon series. Only the second half of the series was read in 2019. My book love kind of came after I finished the series, so it's the Aragon series, The Inheritance Cycle by Christopher Paolini. I mean, his series was by far one of the best series that I own, and in the top 5 fantasy series video that's coming out in January, you will see that this is ranked number 3 in my top 5 fantasy series. This is just such a good series, and I remember while reading it, the series is so descriptive, and that like the world, the magic system, you know, the world building, the descriptive language of the environment, it's all so much, and I just love, you know, how just adventurous this book is. It's so good. I mean, I can't even explain it to you. I found this book and I don't know how, but I just got into complete and utter book obsession, and it is crazy to me just how much this whole past year, after I have finished the series, it's just been book nostalgia over book nostalgia over book nostalgia of this book, because this adventure was truly, truly amazing. I've never had such a good adventure book, and I remember just reading it, snuggling up, cozy. This is such an just adventurous read, and I honestly could not love it more. It's just one of those memories where it's just like you're reading it all day, you know, you're reading it in different locations, and it's just such a good book to take with you everywhere. And I remember actually bringing one of these books to Mexico and out of the country on my first trip, and this will always hold, you know, a special place in my heart, and I'm so glad I got to read, you know, most of it in 2019. Now, the next very specific memory involves these 3 books I'm about to reveal. So they are Legacy, another copy of Legacy, another copy of Legacy. So I've got 3 copies of Legacy. This book has been very special and is probably the most important bookish memory for, you know, 2019, because as some of you or most of you know, that I do have another YouTube channel that I'm running right now, which is the KOTLC Fanbase. I'm a co-owner of that, and we make hundreds of videos on this series, and I mean, it's incredible that we get a new book, because that's to wait a whole year, you know, for each book to come out, and we're just making videos on these books, and you know, it'll always hold a special place in my heart, and the series is just so good. So I had a great time reading it, and I have the most interesting memories of reading it, like reading in the bathtub with blankets and stuff. I transformed a bathtub into a reading spot, and just kind of how I read it, staying up late till 2 o'clock a.m. You know, those were some really interesting memories, but the main memory about this book was the tour. We got to go to a book signing of Shannon Messenger, and you know, we got to meet Shannon Messenger, but more importantly, we got to meet fans of our other YouTube channel. There was a lot of people that came up to us, knew us, wanted to take pictures with us. It was incredible, and we got to sign books. Like, this is such an important series in my life, and I'm just so glad I had to have this amazing tour experience and this book signing. It was incredible. And then a sort of recent memory is A Court of Thorns and Roses. I was really not expecting for this to blow me away. I mean, this book blew me away. I was like scared, because I thought this book was going to be my favorite book ever. This book had me like reading all the time. It had me obsessed with the characters and the plot. It was so good, especially the second half. The first half might be like bland, a little bit bland, but the second half was, you know, like moving. It was emotional. It was desperate. It had such a great atmosphere, and it had a fight and the main character. And I just remember, you know, reading, snuggling up in the covers, and reading up till late at night. And this book kind of got me into reading late, like it got me going past my bedtime or whatever, and just reading until I fell asleep. Like, this truly, truly changed my whole reading perception. And I'm actually currently reading the next book in the series right now, which is A Court of Mist and Fury. And again, it's probably not as good as the first one, but I'm staying up late to read it. It is so good. The plot is so good. I just don't know how Sarah J. Maas does it, but her writing is entrancing. And so those are kind of all the book memories I have. They're not like very specific, but like I just wanted to kind of share 3 distinct books or series that, you know, had a big impact on my reading perception. So I think that wraps up all the content that I wanted to talk about. 2019 was a great reading year, probably one of the best reading years ever. This has been a incredible year, and I'm just so grateful. And you know, I really want to know your thoughts, so comment down below what your book year was, and we'll get into the outro. Nom 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 nom. So I hope you learned a lot more about the books that I read in 2019, some specific memories that I have of reading these books. I had a great year with reading. I don't know how 2020 will be able to beat it, but I did just get a lot of books in an order from Book Outlet. They're all like books that I'm, you know, really excited for, and it's gonna be a good year, I feel like, in reading for 2020. And I'm so excited to take you guys with me on this adventure through 2020, and so that, I think, in itself will be great, you know, make my reading year even better. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I had such a fun time making it. Make sure to leave a like on this video if you did like it. Those really help me. Make sure to comment down below, have you read any of like the specific books that I mentioned, or, you know, what was your reading year like? I would really love to know. What were some specific memories that you had while reading this year that you would like to share? I would love to, you know, hear what you guys have to say, and I would love to respond to you. Also, make sure to subscribe to my channel to get more content from me. That would mean the world to me, as my launch day is officially coming for this channel, and ooh, I'm so excited but so nervous as well. It's beyond crazy that I will actually start releasing my videos that I've made over the last few months. And make sure to hit the notification bell to, you know, be notified when I actually upload these videos. So I think that wraps up this video. So I will see you on January 1st for the big booktube launch. See you guys.